3 p.m. in Cairo, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and time to look up at the news bulletin. I'm Hanan Al-Khoulia, and allow me first, please, to welcome my dear colleague Ahmed. Hello, Ahmed.
Hello, Hanan. Thank you very much. We will be starting straight away with the main headlines from the world of politics. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. The news in full. Egypt is organizing an international ministerial conference to enhance humanitarian response on the 2nd of December in Cairo. A foreign ministry statement said that the conference to mobilize international support to provide humanitarian aid to the Palestinian people in a way that contributes to alleviate their suffering. The statement marks the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. Egypt also stressed the necessity of intensifying international efforts to end the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories and achieve the aspiration of the Palestinian people in self-determination and the establishment of their independent state. Egypt also reiterated the necessity of an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, as well as a full and unconditional access of the humanitarian aid.
Palestinian representative at the UN Council for the Human Rights, Ibrahim Khureisha, said that the overdue neglect of the Palestinian rights for over 76 years and the bias shown to the Israeli state have provided Israel with impunity and encouraged it to defy the international law. Addressing the Council as it marked the Day of Solidarity with the Palestinians, Khureisha said that the only way to stop the escalations and to maintain the regional and the international peace is to resolve the Palestinian issue according to the UN resolutions and to implement the UN Security Council Resolution 2735. He asserted the need for securing humanitarian needs access into the Gaza Strip, a full Israeli withdrawal from the enclave, and the return of the displaced people there.
On the occasion of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres asserted that it's time to achieve an immediate ceasefire in Gaza Strip and the unconditional release of all hostages and to end the illegal occupation of the Palestinian territories in accordance with what was confirmed by the International Court of Justice and the General Assembly. Guterres stressed that the UN will continue its solidarity with the Palestinian people. He also called on the international community to provide full support for the humanitarian relief to the Palestinian people.
While the world marks the Solidarity Day with the Palestinians, the Israeli military aggression in the Gaza Strip continued for more than a year and a month. Nearly 30 bodies of slain people in the Israeli attacks were recovered overnight, as the death toll increased to 44,330 Palestinians. The details follow.
Palestinian medics in central Gaza Governorate said on Friday Israeli military attacks killed at least 19 Palestinians in the northern area of the Nusayrat camp. The recovery of the bodies came as Israeli occupation tanks pulled out of some areas in the major central Gaza camp a day after. Still moving on and following the latest development in Palestine and in the West Bank, the Israeli occupation military and emergency services said at least 8 illegal Israeli settlers were injured in a shooting on an Israeli bus near the Jewish settlement of Ariel. The army said a man carried out this shooting before he was killed by the troops.
Lebanese lawmaker Hassan Fadlallah accused Israel of violating the ceasefire deal with Lebanon, which came into effect on Wednesday after similar accusations by the Lebanese army. The Hezbollah lawmaker said that the Israeli enemy is attacking those returning to the border villages in southern Lebanon. In turn, Israel said that it opened fire on Thursday towards what it called suspects, with the vehicles arriving at several areas in the southern zone, saying it was a breach of the truce with Hezbollah. The Israeli military spokesman said that the Lebanese residents should not return to more than 60 southern villages, saying anyone who moves south of the specified line puts themselves in danger.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he was directed the military to be prepared for intense fighting if the ceasefire is violated. Netanyahu said in an interview with Israel's Channel 14 that the troops are enforcing powerfully, but Netanyahu will give a directive to the IDF to be prepared in case there is a violation of the framework of the ceasefire for an intense war.
France's special envoy said that it was urgent for Lebanon to elect a president after a parliamentary vote to end over 2 years without a head of state was announced for January. Visiting Lebanon following a ceasefire deal was reached to end the Israeli war in Lebanon, Jean-Yves Le Drian signaled the French support for the full implementation of the deal and to stress the urgent need to elect a president and restart the institutional process. He said he was in support of Thursday's announcement by the Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri of a presidential election to be held on the 9th of January. Lebanon has been without a president since Michel Aoun's term ended in October of 2022.
The official Syrian news agency said 4 civilians, including 2 students, were killed in the northern Syrian city of Aleppo, insurgent chilling. The attack was the biggest since March of the 2020, when Russia, which backs Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and Turkey, which supports the insurgents, agreed to a ceasefire to end years of fighting that had uprooted millions of Syrians opposed to Bashar al-Assad's rule. However, separate monitors said at least 242 were killed as intense fighting approaches Aleppo city after insurgents launched a major offensive on government-held areas this week.
Russian President Vladimir Putin had said that Russia could use the new Orishnik hypersonic missile to attack the decision-making centers in Kyiv in response to the Ukrainian firing of the Western missiles at the Russian territory. Putin had boasted that the Russian new missile, fired for the first time at the Ukrainian city of Dnipro last week, is compatible to a nuclear weapon in terms of its destructive power, but has said it will not carry a nuclear warhead.
Russian Defense Minister Andriy Belosov arrived in North Korea for talks with North Korean military and political leaders as the countries deepen their cooperation over Russia's war in Ukraine. Belosov was received by North Korean Defense Minister No Kwang-chol at Pyongyang airport. Belosov noted after his arrival that the military cooperation between the two countries is expanding. He applauded a strategic partnership agreement signed by Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un following their June meeting in Pyongyang, which he said is aimed at reducing tensions by maintaining a balance of power in the region and lowering the risk of war, including with nuclear weapons.
The European Union's Enrique Mora said he held frank talks with the senior Iranian diplomats over Tehran's nuclear program, a day ahead of talks between Iran, Britain, France and Germany in Geneva. Iran expects talks with the European powers in Geneva to be tough and serious, a senior Iranian official said, adding that Russia and China will be briefed about the outcome of the meeting next week. The meetings in Geneva, the first since the U.S. election, come after Tehran was angered by a European-backed resolution last week that criticized the Iranian cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog.
Welcome back. The economic news in full. Minister of Finance Ahmed Kojok said that the government has already started implementing the first package of tax facilities to encourage the private sector to increase its participation in the state's growth plan. During a seminar organized by the Egyptian British Society, the finance minister added that the government is working on reducing the foreign debt to provide additional budget to be directed for social protection programs and human development files. He also noted that his ministry has drawn up a plan to expand the private sector's participation in various sectors.
Oil prices were up but looked set for weekly losses on the ceasefire deal in Lebanon. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 0.6% to $69.12 a barrel, but were down 2.9% for the week. Brent crude, the international standard, added 10 cents to $72.88 a barrel. As for gold prices, the precious metal was last 0.8% higher at nearly $2,660 per ounce on the week dollar, but was on course for a 3% decline for the month. It is the steepest drop in over a year. And this brings us to the end of the news bulletin for today. Thank you very much, Hanan.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. And thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen.